Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports. It's Saturday, March 15th, the Ides of March. And beware the Ides of March because I'm screaming from the cheap seats. So, who has incurred my wrath this week? None other than the NCAA referees in the conference championship tournaments. To say that the collegiate basketball game has sunk to new depths of brutality isn't an idle observation. Here's what I viewed with my own eyes over this weekend so far. Point number one is in the Stanford-Louisville ACC quarterfinals tilt. In a tie game with the clock running out in regulation, UL takes the last shot with around 5 seconds to go and misses. A Stanford player gets the rebound and tries to outlet a pass to get the rock up the floor for a last shot and is fouled not once on the arm, but twice by a pair of Louisville defenders, and no call. This caused the basketball to flutter right to UL guard Chucky Hepburn, who deposited an unmolested 15-footer into the basket as the horn sounded for a 2-point victory. The announcers even lamented that was probably a foul. Oh, my. Let's go to point number two. In the ACC semifinals between Louisville and Clemson, there were two late-game no calls that were just flat atrocious. The first was when the Tigers, trailing by 2 points late in the game, CU guard Chase Hunter was hammered to the floor going to the basket, and, of course, no whistle. Even the announcers were screaming that it wasn't a clean block, but a foul, and I quote, "That has to be called." There were 3 fouls on that possession. Then, after the Cardinals made a couple of free throws, Hunter attempted a tying three-pointer and gets fouled again. It was so obvious that no replay was shown. They didn't want to embarrass the 3 guys who missed that call or refused to call it. Now, being a former college basketball coach, there's an old adage that referees swallow their whistle at the end of the game because they don't want to affect the outcome. Well, let me throw this one out there. By not calling obvious fouls, in both of these tilts, it completely affected the outcome. How's this for a couple of novel concepts for the 3 people officiating the contest? One is if it's a foul in the first minute, it's a foul in the last minute. The second is if it's an obvious foul and it occurs in the last minute of a close game, and by not calling the infraction, you are affecting the outcome. Here's the sad part. It will probably get worse when March Madness begins next week, but there is a way to change that, and here's how. From the opening tip, any football-level contact will be called a foul, and start it right away in the 4 play-in games at the University of Dayton. Make a statement right away that the brutality that has festered into the game like a plague is no longer going to be tolerated. Moving screens like a pulling guard, contact on a shooter that resembles pass interference, offensive players that go to the basket and throwing their shoulder into a defender like a blitzing linebacker running over an offensive lineman. Referees need to draw a line in the sand. No more. And it will take players and coaches about 2 minutes to figure out how this game is going to be officiated, and they will adjust. It will also send a message to the rest of the teams selected to participate in the road to the Final Four that this is how the game will now be called. If you don't comply, you'll have a great seat on the bench watching because you're going to be in foul trouble. Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports. I hope you're listening, NCAA officials, and I hope the NCAA dictates let's get the brutality out of the game. Let's make it the finesse game it was supposed to be. Book it, Dano.